Hello and welcome back to another edition of Talking Quack and Smack with TC Duck Club. I'm Skylar Ray.
I'm Truett Marshall.
Ben Perry.
Brad Dale.
Colin Cooper.
Renzo Adams, Duck Slayer, Turkey Slayer, all of the above. Jack P.
We've had a heck of a day. We're here at Jake's on the Lake. This is the first ever TC Duck Club turkey hunting competition. We've had a low country bull, and Ben Perry showed up and played live music for us tonight, and Truett Marshall showed up and provided some entertainment, and Mr. Brad Dale of all people has come in from Knoxville, Tennessee. I hadn't seen Brad since we played high school football together, and he played bass tonight. Colin looks like
I look like a spokesman for Sitka. So if you need anything to hunt with, you call Sitka.
Like I always
100%.
tell you, you get tired of being wet, cold, and miserable, put you some Sitka gear on. It's for grown-ups. But so tell everybody, since you're the spokesperson for Sitka, tell everybody what your day consisted of.
So
Let me explain for you. You're done. You don't get to talk. We put you on a no talk.
I've got
You're
things,
on no talk.
I've got things I need to tell about this. So
Yeah, well, hey, we had a turkey hunting competition.
and I was not a part of the turkey hunting competition.
No, he showed up tonight with a habit. just for the ones.
Some of us has got some hunting dogs to where we had hunting competitions today and couldn't make the turkey hunt and be a part of everything today. So on a lighter note,
He was with us in spirit.
yeah,
He was checking in on us, early this morning to make sure we was, safe, hunter safety compliant. Make sure we had a good breakfast this morning. He was pulling for us.
yeah.
Are you believing any of this?
No.
Yeah, well, y'all should believe everything. So, we had a good day at the dog competition this morning. Come back with some ribbons. Skylar, he talks about it, but he wants us to have good dogs too, because he understands the duck part of all this.
Look, I'd be tickled if y'all had good dogs. I'm tired of providing everything. The location, the decoys, the know-how, the truck. I mean, y'all show up literally with a habit, just like you did tonight. I mean, it'd tickle me to death if you had a good. Renzel's dog knocked his gun off in the Pacific Ocean. He's out there swimming with Free Willy. But it'd tickle me to death if they showed up. I mean, so anyway, Ben's getting baptized in fire. I remember. I'm fixing to show my age here, but I remember when Ben come home from the hospital. So I don't know if I need to be telling that. All these gray hairs kind of tell that story for me, but. Anyway, the show was awesome tonight.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, the show was awesome tonight. And how long have you been playing music?
I've been playing the guitar really my whole life, but I didn't start gigging until about last May. I played a little bit in college, a little band, and that was just kind of fun.
Chicks dig it.
Yeah, chicks loved it.
My big fat finger's been broke too many times to do it.
Yeah, I finished concrete, so I try to keep my hands, not broken.
Yeah.
But I started playing live gigs solo about a year ago, and a little after that I got Brad with me, and it's my uncle. But I play just about every weekend.
Wait. You just slid over it. So you're his uncle.
Yeah, that's my uncle.
So Ben, is this dude do you call him uncle?
I call him cousin. No, I call him Uncle Brad. I call him Uncle.
But the real question is, do you still have the fuzz now or later after all these years? Or?
Yeah.
Come back.
That probably fertilized it. Got thick. It got thick after that fire.
So Truett, how is it in Alabama?
Well, I was here last.
Where is he from?
Okay, so I'm from.
We weren't gonna bring that.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Better question. Who's your favorite college football team?
Hell State, baby. It's a sad life, but you know somebody's got to live it.
God.
Said that a couple
terrible.
times.
yeah. Somebody's got to do it. But yeah, I'm from Poplarville, Mississippi, South Mississippi. You know, drive a little further south of me, you're gonna run the Gulf of Mexico. Go a little bit west of me, you're gonna run into the Pontchartrain. So
Wait a minute, that's the Gulf of America.
that.
That's the
Correct.
Gulf of
Correct.
America.
I have a hat that says Gulf of America. I should know better by now. Yes, Gulf of America.
Apologies.
Yeah, we gotta get PC. You know, politically correct now. But yeah, what'd you ask me?
If we've got to be politically correct, you're in the wrong chair. You're in the wrong chair.
Well, I guess technically that is. I don't know.
So y'all had a big morning this morning while Colin
yeah.
was sleeping in and then going to play fetch with his dog and not supporting all of his friends because he hates us all. You had a big morning. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Man, so yeah, we I went with his buddy Richard. We went to Prudence Bottom, Alabama, Hardwood Bottom, meet some pines. Man, it was beautiful. Them turkeys went to gobbling and we got it done. It was pretty good. We sat down for probably 15 minutes, had 2 birds down. It's something that, you know, if you're a turkey hunter, you can't paint a better picture. That's like what you dream of. It was awesome morning, and I think we're gonna get into more of that later. But yeah, it was Alabama. Y'all on the A list. Alabama's good in my eyes. It's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
see, Richard, he couldn't make it this evening. He had other obligation, responsibility, so he's not here to defend himself. So we're not going
Sure.
to speculate on that too much.
What's the point of having a friend if you can't talk about him behind his back? You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
Speaking of talking about Richard behind his back, you know, in the South, everybody has a nickname, and Richard's last name is King. So, in the spirit of keeping this as PG as possible, everybody here, we're just gonna, I guess, give you the benefit of the doubt that you know what the short for Richard is.
I'm with the president.
Yeah, like Richard Nixon.
Yeah, Richard Nixon.
They called him Dick Nixon. So Richard, his last name is King.
What do you call him, Dick King?
Well, so you know, it's one of the greatest nicknames we could come up with. His wife calls him Tiny. But anyway, all jokes aside, Richard and Truett, they led and were actually in the lead by, what was it, 3/10 of a?
Yeah, it was close.
I mean, it was literally nip and tuck, like touch and go who was going to win. And once we plugged all the data into the computer, it, you know, kind of gives you, or well, it doesn't kind of, it gives you a score. And they were 3/10 of a point in the lead, and with like literally 7 minutes to go in the competition, a guy walks up with a bird that had a softball for a head and it had 3 beards.
That was a God-given bird.
Look, I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime bird. Like the best turkey hunter in this area, like he eats, sleeps, and breathes it. Like Jeremy Morris is a turkey guru. Like Jeremy can kill them as good as anybody, and Richard's great. And there's several great turkey hunters around here. McConnell Murphy,
What was his name?
Jeremy Morris,
The Richard guy.
oh, Dick King. The Dick King's a turkey king too. So anyway, like this guy walks up with like literally minutes to spare, and everybody just goes quiet. There's a live band out here on the stage, and everybody is just like, oh my God, that turkey's got 3 beers. And I mean, ropes on it. And it was 97.8.
Yeah, the total score was like 97.8, and the turkey just had 27 inches of beard total. It was unreal. Like, normally you kill a multi-bearded turkey, you know, you got like 2 inches, 3 inches, you know, they're usually small. This was like 8, and 10.5. It was a stud.
You know, and I'm kind of glad that we've done this and got to see Brad Dell today and got to meet you and kind of hang out and, you know.
Nephew, Ben.
Everybody's here. Yeah. First time in a long time I got to hear Ben play, and I mean it was a good turnout. Guys that I saw tonight, like Brad Dell, hadn't seen in years, and Ryan Law that I see every day.
Where's Ryan Law at, by the way? He made a buzz, but he's up awful late tonight.
He's off.
Look at him. He's having a
Just
time.
staring at that.
Ain't no telling what he's over there talking about, son.
He's probably talking about chicken litter or something like that. Yeah, man, it is prime season.
Oh, he's selling something. But
Wheeling and dealing.
he does make the world smell better around here. But like I said, it's such a a good time when you get this many people that enjoy the same amount, same kind of things, and y'all get to hang out and do something that y'all enjoy and talk and tell stories and meet new people or whatever. But we like to kind of gouge each other a little bit, but there ain't no sense in having a friend if you can't make fun of them. So guys, we really appreciate y'all coming out. The show was awesome. If you get a chance, make sure that you go check out Ben and cousin Brad, Uncle Brad.
I like nephew better.
But these guys put on a heck of a show, and make sure you like and subscribe, follow and share Truett Marshall and Ben Perry on social media. This guy right here is hilarious. We stayed up last night till way past my bedtime, and then here it is way past my bedtime again. So I guess without further ado, that'll just about do it for another episode of Talking Quack and Smack with TC Duck Club. Part 2 of this will be tomorrow at lunch, and then we'll let Keith Talbert throw it all together, and we'll be making some highlight reels. So y'all stay with us, because we're gonna keep killing them. Hello and welcome back to another edition of Talking Quack and Smack with TC Duck Club. I'm Skylar Ray.
I'm Richard King.
I'm Truett Marshall.
I'm Craig McCain.
Last night we were at Jake's on the Lake here in Center, Alabama. We hosted the first ever TC Duck Club turkey competition, and had a low country boil and a great turnout. We'd like to thank everybody that participated and hunted in the event and come out and hung out with us, and it was just an awesome turnout, and we really couldn't ask for better weather or a better group of guys and gals that came out and hung out with us. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, Miss Trini Davis, Faraway Tree Service, Agro at John Deere, Shots Ammunition, the guys at Sick of Atlanta. I mean, we had a great turnout, and a good competition. Richard and Truett, they kind of led the competition really from 6:37 in the morning all the way till this gentleman here come up and ruined everybody's afternoon. With about 6 minutes to go in the competition, he shows up with the state record Godzilla. It's the biggest pen raised bird I've ever seen.
Hey, at least somebody in Alabama can hit a buzzer beater, right?
Yeah, because Auburn got beat. If Auburn would have won yesterday, it solidifies my weekend. But with their season being over, at least we had a good turnout, because it's raining today, it's nasty weather, and with Auburn getting beat, if we hadn't killed any turkeys yesterday, then it would have been a little less eventful. But
Well, Duke getting beat helped me, helped my day today.
they busted my bracket up, and it is what it is. But
Hey, I tell you what, the turkeys had a worse day than you did. The Alabama boys, y'all worked on them. There's a few Georgia guys, but man, the Alabama guys, I think there was 24, 25, somewhere around there. Birds checked in, and just about every
and
team.
that's a good day for anywhere, let alone Alabama.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have but like 30 teams, and
That's outstanding.
I mean,
Hey,
it was pretty good.
that puts you in the Hall of Fame batting average right there.
That's right. And like I said, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate y'all taking part and coming out. I know it was kind of short notice, and we're a duck club, so this was kind of new territory for us. We had to lean on a lot of people and ask, and we'll probably change some things up before next year and do things, a little different. And hopefully we'll get some more sponsors and be able to, get some, better prizes and stuff. And, maybe it'll get some traction and we'll have some more participation, if you will. But, all in all, it was a great day. How awesome is Jake's on the Lake for a venue like that?
It's a nice place. It's easy to get to, a lot of parking. It's just a great place, right on the lake, beautiful view.
And for those of you, while we're talking on that subject, for those of you that are listening and are interested in an awesome family-friendly environment, Jake's on the Lake here in Center Alabama, Cedar Bluff, Cherokee County area. Jake's on the Lake is an awesome venue. So if you're looking for a place to vacation with your in the summertime with your family, Jake's on the Lake is a great laid-back environment, family-friendly, live music, great food, and Jake and Julie both. They're a great family. They're well known here, and they were nice enough to let us host that event at their place on short notice. Well, I guess we need to just dive right in and tell y'all a little bit of backstory on this guy here. If you hadn't checked out Truett Marshall's stuff on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all the social media, YouTube, you need to, because Truett does some really funny stuff, and he was nice enough to come down on short notice. And when I called him and asked him, if he would like to hunt with us or come down for the hunt, he said, well, do you have anybody I can hunt with? I ain't never killed a bird in Alabama. And I said, I got just a guy. So anyway, I called Richard, and Richard come over, and I introduced him Friday night before the competition on Saturday, and Richard was kind of poor-mouthing his place to turkey hunt, and you could just see Truett's face just kind of go, blank, and all the excitement that he had built up, and I'd talked up, it just kind of left him, and as soon as Richard walked out, he says, man, you think we're gonna kill a bird tomorrow? And I said, man, I can tell you this, if anybody that I'm friends with is gonna turn a bird in, it's gonna be Richard King. I said, now you may have to walk over 3 or 4 states. I mean, you may go through a ham sandwich or two, you may have blisters on your feet, but he's gonna do everything he can to put you on a bird. Well, by 6:37, these two goofballs are calling me like middle school girls. They're giggling and high-fiving, and they're really just gloating at this point, And when my phone rang, I thought, well, they've been snake bit, they broke their leg, they've gotten stuck, they need me to come pull them out. I'm telling my wife, I said, why are they calling this early? Because 6:37, 6:47, whatever it was way before 7 o'clock.
I think it was about 10 till 7.
Yeah.
When y'all called.
Yeah.
But man, you would have thought they got what they wanted for Christmas. They were all smiles, and of course they had Richard's son with them, and he was pumped up about it. But I was like, man, send me a video, because I thought they were lying.
Yeah.
These two goofballs, they said, I'll send you a video. So they hang up and send me a video, and this turkey comes in, and it's just beating the brakes off the decoy. You could hear it just flogging the decoy. And all of a sudden you hear them safeties click off. And of course, before I could finish watching the video, they done called back wanting to FaceTime, and they're trying to recap the story to me. And here I am, got it on video. Just let me watch it. So anyway, tell them a little bit about yesterday morning, I guess.
Well, like I said, I hadn't been in the woods at all. We came home from a successful Florida turkey hunt, me and my boys did, and they wanted to go hunting here Friday morning. So, we went, and we didn't do any good. About 12 o'clock, my older son looked at me and said, Dad, I said, what? He said, we're not in Kansas anymore. And I said, no, son, we're not. We're not. And we had done beat the brakes off turkeys in Florida. And so I've been real busy, so I hadn't been in the woods. So I was just straight up trip right now. Well, man, I don't even know where they're gobble. And of course, my youngest son had never killed a turkey in Alabama. He's killed 2 Osceolas. And I was thinking in my head, well, I know one thing for sure. I love my youngest son more than I love Truett Marshall, so I'm not taking him to my best spot, okay? I'm gonna take him to a good spot, but it's not gonna be my best spot.
You would never hear the end of that, would you?
Never hit it. No, And so I said, I think, from past history, I think we can go in here and do pretty good. We may have to move several times, but I think we can kill a bird. Lo and behold, at 15 minutes after 6, this turkey starts gobbling. These turkeys start gobbling. And he'll vouch for it. He's just shaking his head. We don't know which tree to sit down beside. They're just gobbling, they're just spinning on a limb, and they're just gobbling and gobbling and gobbling and gobbling and gobbling. Like, right here's fine. Let's just sit down. So we're we're running and trying to get decoys set up, and trying to figure out where we're going to get. And my oldest son told Truett, said, "Hey, I'm gonna let you shoot." And he's like, "No, man, I'm just here to hunt. I don't want to shoot." And Connor said, "No, I want you to shoot. We're not gonna have a guest here and not let him shoot." Truett walks up beside me, shoulder to shoulder, and he says, "Hey, Connor told me he wanted me to shoot." I said, "Okay." He said, "Is that all right?" I said, "Dude, he's 15 years old. He can make a decision on who he wants to shoot. Don't ask him again." That turkey went.
Yeah,
Truett said, "Okay." He starts hunting them tails. He finds his hill and finds him a tree, and he sits down. And we don't call to him on the limb. That turkey's gobbling, and there's turkeys gobbling behind us and to the side of us. But we were on these 3 or 4. We don't know exactly how many are. We're in tight. We got there early.
Yeah.
We got up at 3:15, and I asked my sweet wife, because at 4 o'clock in the morning in Southern Alabama, there's nothing to eat. Okay, there's not even a gas station open. And so I said, "Do we have anything to cook for breakfast in the morning?" She said, "No, I don't have anything, but I'll stop and get some." So she got up at 3:15, and she's a soldier, buddy. She has cooked for me for years, and she got up and she cooked us breakfast. And I said, "Well, I don't know if Truett likes mayonnaise or not." She said, "Well, he's getting it regardless." So she builds this little care package and sends us off out the door. So
I brought the good luck to us there.
it definitely helped on up about 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
We kept hunting, but Truett, you tell them what happened there. I'm gonna let you explain the story of what happened after they come off the roost there.
Oh, I say, we're sitting there and the turkeys are just going crazy. Just turkeys behind us, like Richard said, turkeys in front of us, man. This is something like turkey hunters dream of. You had hens, you up and fly down cackles. I could see a glimpse of them turkeys flying down, so they hit the ground. We're just sitting there, we're just letting them do their things, and then they start kind of easing away. I was like, "That ain't good." I was like, "They got a bunch of hens." I said, "And there's 3 gobblers there. I bet they're ready for a fight." And I looked at Richard and said, "Hey, you want me to gobble?" He said, "Yeah, gobble, gobble." So as soon as I do that, it was on after that. I gobble, "Caw!" And he answered me right back, "Caw!" I cut him off 2 more times. "Caw!" Here he comes. I can see him. There's like a finger that goes off to the right. He's on the edge of it, and there he is. I see the head come through. He's strutting. He's just coming here. Strutting. He comes around and hops up on some logs. He looks up, he sees them decoys, he said, "Huh?" And he kind of done that little wing tuck, and I was like, "Man, it's over with now." I seen that wing tuck, I said, "That's it, that's a wrap." I should have shot him when I probably could have, but I was wanting to get them other gobblers in there so we can have a good shot at winning this thing. But anyways, he goes back, and I'm sitting there like, "Dang it." I see some stuff moving off into the distance. I'm like, "Man, what is that?" That's 2 more redheads. And I look, and I see the 3rd one. He went and got his buddies. He went and got some help. And here they come. Beelining. They come in the decoys, and I'm sitting there. They're flogging the decoys, and I'm like, "Hey, what you want to do, Richard?" And I just hear him start going 3, 2, 1. And I didn't know when we were going to shoot, but I figured that he's going to shoot after 1. So we timed it up perfect, and when the smoke settled, there's a lot of high-fiving and turkeys flocking, man.
I'm just glad y'all didn't have to count to like 10 or something, because I ain't sure he could have got there.
Yeah,
I said he could kill turkeys, not count. we didn't pay as much attention at school as what we should have. We listened in ag class though, didn't we?
Well, in the fall, I was thinking about deer hunting, and in spring, I was thinking about turkey hunting. I wasn't thinking about math or science or biology or anything like that. Language, I wasn't in none of that.
Yeah, you had to slide your boots off, use your toes to count. Huh?
Yeah. I didn't even do that, to be honest. I just guessed.
Shoot, our core curriculum involved crayons, man. I don't know how they do it in Mississippi, but you know, I'm really glad that y'all had a good time. You know, yesterday morning that was awesome, and again, you know, we really appreciate you coming all the way over from Mississippi.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Richard, for letting me tag along with you.
Absolutely, man. My boys watch you on TikTok, Facebook, whatever, and when Scott was putting this deal together, he called me, you know, and I don't look at myself as a big turkey hunter. I love to go, and Scott was telling about it, you know, talking about turkey hunts, you know, about putting turkey competition on. And I said, well, if you're gonna put a turkey competition on, you need somebody turkey here. Like you need to get somebody. And he's like, well, all right, I'm listening. Who? And I said, well, my boy Shorty want to meet you at Marshall. Call him and see if he'll come up here. And lo and behold, he called and said, hey, he's in. Can you hunt with him? I said, I'll hunt him. Don't you worry.
You know, if you'd ask duck hunters, my big duck hunter, you know, gurus, the celebrity duck hunters, you know, that I've watched for years on social media and TV and stuff. You know, I can name them all. You know, like Jim Ronquest, and you know, to me, there's nobody bigger than Jeff Coates. I really like sea duck hunting, and Jeff Coates kind of started that habit for me. And you know, then you got Ramsey Russell. Of course, he duck hunts everywhere. I mean, everybody knows Ramsey Russell, and you know, there's you know, guys that build boats, and you know, like Steve Hoover builds duckwater boats, and you know, I can go through and tell you all these guys, but I had to kind of again lean on you know, friends of mine that turkey hunt more than I do, because again, I'm not a turkey hunter. I've been and you know, had some success, but nothing like these guys or whatever. But we would like to tell everybody that's watching, these two guys were in the lead. They didn't have the heaviest bird, but you know, bird weight and spur length and beard length. Once you kind of put all that into the NWTF, they give you a kind of a formula that calculates it for you, and y'all were ahead by 0.3 of a point. I mean, just like literally by one beard hair, they're ahead, and it was a tight competition. And Brandon Burt and Taylor Drake, they had a really good bird that you know just didn't weigh. And the guy that finished second, his bird was huge, but it had a little short beard on it, and that's what kind of hurt them. And anyway, Richard and them had kind of led the competition, and with like 6 minutes to go in the competition, he walks in like Ric Flair. And you know, we had live music and people sitting there eating crawfish, and you got 250 people eating all you can eat shrimp, and sitting around watching an Auburn basketball game, and you know, that many people. When he walks in, you could have heard a mouse pee on cotton, son. I mean, it was quiet as a Sunday service. Everybody just stops and watches him walk in there, because this turkey's head was as big as a dang softball, and it had 3 beards on it. I mean, just massive.
I thought everybody was messing with me. They said,
I did too.
hey, this bird down here's got.
Because I never saw you walk in, but it just got really quiet.
I said, whatever. And I ain't worried about it. So I got me another crawfish, and Connor came up and said, hey, Daddy, there's a guy down here who wants to talk to you named Craig. I said, Craig? Who's Craig? I don't talk about. I don't know Craig. I'm eating.
Craig? You talking about that?
Yeah.
You ain't got no job. You ain't got nothing to do. We wanted that whole
I'm gonna eat your crawfish.
Donut shop.
I'm gonna eat your crawfish. I ain't going to talk to no Craig. He's like, man, he's got a big old bird down here, Daddy. He wants to talk to you. I was like, all right, I'll go out there. I walked down the steps, and I looked. I said, No, I'm not talking to Craig. He's not the one about no 3-beard turkey. Yeah, I said, I gave him a hug, and I said, what'd you kill? He said, come in and look. I was like, good God. I said, we bled this thing all day. I said, here we go. We bled all day long. And there's like, I looked at my watch and literally he had about 10 minutes. And he just blew us out of the water.
Yeah, most times when you hear about a 3-bird or a multi-bearded turkey, you know, it's usually little hairs and stuff. But this sucker had, what, it was like 2 8.5-inch beards and a 10 3/4 or almost 11-inch beard. That was a world-class turkey. Like,
It's
you better hold on to that.
bird I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Like we were beating the other guy by like 3/10 decibels. He beat us like inches.
Yeah.
He didn't need a decimal point. He beat us by inches.
Like it was the biggest turkey I've ever seen, by the way. And you know, can you tell us a little bit about your hunt? You know.
Yeah, I mean, it started out in the morning, it felt good from daylight, you know, got in there clean, got set up, just trying to go off past information where turkeys normally roost.
Where can you tell us a little bit about the locale? Like, where'd you kill it?
Yeah, I killed it in Alabama, you know.
Yeah, so turkey hunters are like that kind of
Yeah.
You know, you might have heard of the place, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a real big place. But
No, you know, it's not very big.
How many turkeys did you hear that morning?
None.
He heard 20.
You know, and it's funny you say that because there were several guys, you know, that were by 7:30 calling in, you know, their team had killed 2 birds. And that, man, we heard all these gobbles, And then, you know, like you said, you didn't hear any, and I don't know if you're just joking or what, you know, we're kind of giving you a hard time. But a lot of them had a hush mouth yesterday.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were several guys talking about it being foggy. Was it foggy where you were at?
No, the wind picked up at about 10 o'clock, but you know, at daylight, usually where I hunt, the turkeys ain't very vocal when they hit the ground because of coyotes. You know, the first time we ever hunted there, we sat down, we yelped, you know, this has been years ago, but we yelped and killed a coyote. And I told my buddy, I was like, well, we need to move somewhere else. So we moved to another spot, sat down, yelped, killed another coyote.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, this was the first year we didn't kill a turkey. It's like, well, these turkeys hit the ground, they get meat. That's what we was thinking. So, you know, using past information, when they hit the ground, they're hard to find. So they didn't gobble off a limb, had me worried. I didn't spook no turkeys going in. Just, it felt good. The wind started picking up later on in the day. You know, during this time in the group text, like you were saying, just 2 birds here. You know, Richard and them with their first one had me all anxious. You know, I was like, man, it's got to happen. It just feels good. And then they just kept coming in pictures, and we stayed at it all day. And
You know, and what time of day did you kill it?
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
That, I mean, you had to be on pins and needles, you know.
I was.
I mean,
we was.
because, I mean, my phone blew up. Like, literally, I had to crank my truck and leave my cell phone charging while my truck's running at Jake's on the Lake, you know. And, you know, because I had it to be, you know, I was running the Spotify on my cell phone on my Bluetooth speaker. But my cell phone kept getting so many text messages and pictures, just boom, 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 right after another, that I had to leave my truck running and charge my cell phone. And somebody said, man, you know your truck's running? I said, yeah, I'm charging my daggum cell phone. And we just started listening to the radio on my truck radio. And, you know, I can only imagine what it would be like, you know, trying to hunt a competition and your phone just sitting there vibrating in your pocket, and you're looking at it like, God, 2 more. I'm like, where are these guys killing these daggum turkeys at? I mean, it's like people had, you know, we joke about yours being pin raised. I mean, these guys had to be like, you know, putting GPS locators on these turkeys because, I mean, all day long, people were like, all over were sending in pictures of turkeys. So I know you had to be a nervous wreck.
Oh, I was. And see, we first time last year we burned this property, you know, trying to do habitat work. So it killed a lot of underbrush, you know, the pines are burned up 10 foot high. So it's more open. And, you know, throughout the day, not hearing a turkey, not seeing a hen, you know, in places you've killed turkeys and you're going, did burning this hurt this? You know, you're playing this in your mind. I've seen turkeys here. I've killed turkeys. So yeah, that just made you like you say, you're sitting over there going, what am I doing wrong? You know, question your ability as a hunter. But I went off past history. At 4 o'clock, me and my buddy was talking, and I said, it don't look good. We ain't even gonna have a bird to enter. And so I told him, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to a spot where I roosted a turkey last year. I had it marked on my own eggs. I said, I'm moving there. And it was a mile walk to the other end of the property, from the south side to the north side. So I wound around this pine row, and there's a little rise, and on this side, on the neighbors, they just burnt this recently within a month. And on this little rise, there's a green field on the bottom side. So what I done, I put my hen right in the middle of that road, right on that rise. And I got over here to the right. And when I set up, first thing in the morning yesterday, I had my video camera. I always take my video camera and I have a tripod with camo net. Well, my video camera died, so I put it in the truck at lunch. But I still had that camo net. When I sat down, I thought, man, if he comes up that road, the road that I just walked up, he's gonna see me. So because it's open now, so I took that camo net and set it here. I sat down against the tree. I didn't like my view up, looking out. I said, this ain't gonna work. I looked over that way and I moved about 10 yards to my right. I couldn't see my decoy. Sat down, it was 5:02. Sat down and did an aggressive call. Just give a little light yelp, a cluck, and then I actually was texting my daughter. She was asking me, you having any luck? And I said, no, not yet. And about that time, I heard it sounded like somebody dragging their yard rake up that road. I just walked up, and he was dragging. He was full strut. And the corner of my eye, I seen that white head, and my gun's laying like this on the ground beside me. And I said, this ain't good. But I knew with that piece of camo net over there, when he went behind that, I just come up with it on my shoulder and turned, and when he stepped between them two sweet gums at about 20 yards, I put him on the ground. I hated to shoot him at full strut, but bird in the hand's worth two in the bush.
Yeah, you
learned that a long time
The
ago.
feathers ain't real. They don't weigh a whole lot anyway.
That's right.
But when he hit the ground flopping, I text my buddy, it's time to go. And he said, okay. And I ran over there and picked him up, and I could see the two beaters, and I called right then. I called him, I said, we really got to go. And he said, I'm coming. And he come across that field.
He said, pull my green pull up.
He drove an F-150 like it was a razor coming through there. But when I got down on my knees to enter the bird for the state, I seen the three beers, and I really went shaking. But
You talked about an F-150. That was one sponsor we didn't mention, but the folks over in Fort Payne at the Ford dealership at Leonard's Florida, they come over last night. I don't know if you saw that F-250 out there, but they had a F-250 out there. It was the second best looking truck there, beside Buck. It's a nice truck, but it ain't Buck.
No, we're not there. Ain't nowhere near good,
But Adam Cantrell over at Leonard's Florida Ford in Fort Payne, he does me right. I played high school football with him, so if he tears that F-150 up, you can go see the folks over at Leonard's Florida, and you can take some of that prize money you won yesterday and put a pretty good down payment on
I might
the
have to
F-150.
replace my buddy's skid plate. Or something. I don't know.
Put a whole down payment on what he wanted.
Yeah.
I won't try to tie it up in court for at least 30 days. I'll probably
Hey, I'm
fix it last
microwaving.
night.
Ruin the Scottish Saturday.
It's still warm. He must have microwaved
Yeah, it
it.
took till 5 o'clock to thaw him out, from the week before. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, this competition, there were so many good guys in it, and guys that I've never met, I can't say enough about, all the people that helped us and were a part of it. And I thought the band put on a great show last night.
They did.
Ben Perry, it's the first time in a long time I've seen Ben or heard Ben, and Ben Perry puts on a heck of a good show. And
Yeah, he done a good job.
I couldn't imagine it going any better than what it done. I know y'all would probably like it if
one less bird would have been turned in, but
Yeah.
it made for a good story today because a bird of that caliber is awesome, and it just showcases, you know, how good the hunting is in Alabama if you're willing to, you know, manage your property and you know, responsibly take your animals off that property and man, we're really excited that you entered and really excited that you won, and hopefully you'll tell your buddies and enter again next year because you know, now that we're you know, seasoned veterans at this turkey competition deal, you know, hopefully it'll get a little better and there won't be so much gray area and you know, moving here and there and everywhere because we were going to try to have it here and it just kept growing and growing, and I don't know where we parked all this.
Yeah, you've done a good job. Thank you, Jake and Julie, for letting us have it over there.
Yep.
But
The bad part about this turkey competition is, you know, the only negative that I see about the turkey competition is he's never gonna let me forget that he beat me at the first turkey competition because this is Kim's first cousin. So at every family reunion, I'm gonna have to hear this. You know what I mean? He's never gonna let me ever live it down, ever.
well, I can tell you how you stop it. I can tell you right now, he'll never mention it again. If you just show up with a banana pudding that your wife makes and just say, look, you ain't getting one bite. You open your sapsucker one time. One bite of banana pudding. Look, I would quit a lot of things. If I could just have a banana pudding in the refrigerator every day that Kim makes.
Well, I'm gonna try that because I don't know how long I can stand here and Kim every year about how you
It'll work. I'm telling you, it'll work. I mean, if he's full, you got to get him before he eats. You know,
Yes.
if he's good and hungry, you say, "Now look, you ain't getting on this banana pudding if you badmouth me." But
Yeah.
We're trying to have to score him. You know, he kind of gave us a bunch of pointers there. He done all this stuff before. And, you know, he knew about the website and whatever, and he done a bunch of scoring. We appreciate him for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Which we didn't get to score our birds because I promise you, if we could have scored our own, we'd have been way.
Yeah, about there.
no, and you know, Jeremy Morris is another guy that you know I've had to lean on, and Jeremy's kind of quiet and reserved, and he's just a super good guy. He works for Whitetail Properties, and Jeremy had all the equipment and you know everything needed, you know, tape and scales and you know, first one thing then another to get all that stuff done. And Jeremy really stepped up, and Molly Jordan is our NWTF president or chairperson here in Cherokee County, and I've called Molly more times in the last 2 weeks, and I've called my wife probably. I mean, every 10 minutes it seemed like somebody called me, and I'd be like, well, I don't know, and I'd call Jeremy, or I'd call Richard, or I'd call Molly, or I'd call Brian, or I'd have to call somebody, because again, there's questions I didn't know how to answer, and I can't tell you how much I really appreciate those folks. But Truett kind of made my weekend, because I've laughed all daggone weekend. He run around out there like he was on the payroll yesterday. I mean, he was helping clean the crawfish and helping cut potatoes and cut lemons, and we had enough food literally to feed 10 times as many people as showed up. And I can't stand not having enough food, or not having enough drinks, or having to leave or whatever. I'm pretty sure if you wanted to go and bow fish around Jackson Lake, it'd be a great place to go, because of all the crawfish heads and tails that got chunked off the pier yesterday. But
there was a lot of people eating them.
Yeah.
But it was a good trip, and again, I really appreciate you coming over. I know it got late last night and you had stuff to do, but that was a fun day, and it was a high quality bird that everybody turned in. I mean, there's some really, really good birds turned in.
Yeah, there's some world class turkeys turned in. That's what I was telling him. Kill that one. I was like, man, that's the best turkey I've seen in a long time. There ain't nothing gonna be. There was turkeys, that just as good as birds. Like, man, there's some fine turkeys here.
And we knew right off the bat that another turkey to beat this turkey right here, single beard, it's gonna have to be a man. Like, this is a good turkey. And the thing about it is, this is a place that gets hunted. I mean, it's not like it just sits for 10 years.
Yeah.
So to have a 4-year-old plus bird, that you could go kill.
It's a smart,
We didn't know.
smart bird.
Yeah, like we were good with 2-year-olds. As long as they had a long beard and never, mature bird, we were okay with that. But lo and behold, we killed maybe 2 of the biggest turkeys ever been killed on that place. As luck would have it, we were in the right spot at the right time.
Well, to add to what Richard's saying, this place we hunt, you get one day. Me and my buddy hunt it for one day. And Trip will attest to this, that's hard to do. So you either gonna kill a bird or you're not, that's it. So we let they had it, they're done. It's theirs from now to the end of the season. They will not be bothered, other than coyotes and stuff like that.
So you only hunt your property turkey hunting one day?
This spot, well, that's only one spot, but
In Alabama.
in Alabama, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everything just got lined up perfect. You did it
And
one
it's-
time
and-
or one day.
It's hard. Trigger strength's hard. I mean, to know that you could go and take, another bird or two, but we let them have it. Like I said, we're trying to do a lot of habitat stuff, burning, letting some old fields grow up, for nesting or brooding habitat, stuff like that.
So that's good. You're giving back. A lot of people just pile them up, and it's good to see people starting to do a lot more management now.
Yeah, and I hate it that you didn't get it on videotape.
Oh, I'm sick.
But I want to put you on something because we have recently started, advertising, and we're just like you. We duck hunted in Alabama. We didn't tell nobody nothing. And when we started posting drone footage and this and that, everybody's like, "There's no way that's in Alabama." And it really, like, if you look at our TC Duck Club t-shirts, I don't know if you got a t-shirt or whatever, but if you look at our TC Duck Club t-shirts, it's got the TC Duck Club logo on the front, and on the back, it's got an outline of the state of Alabama. And then right where Cherokee County is, it's got the TC Duck Club logo over Cherokee County. It's got a mallard duck, caricature flying through the state of Alabama. And on the bottom it says, "You won't believe you're in Alabama," because of how many people at the Sika store or Washington State or Nebraska or my buddies in Utah or my buddies in Michigan or New York, like Richard's been with me when we go up to Michigan and hunt with these guys. We've been to Jamaica with them, and they're great hunters, and they hunt turkey and deer and fish for walleye. And I mean, they're outdoorsmen, and we started showing all these drone footage, and we've never told these guys any of this stuff. We just kind of, we let them brag and talk and this and that, and we ain't want to lay all the cards on the table. So when we started advertising, everybody's like, "There's no way that's in Alabama."
Yeah.
There's no way. That's Photoshop. You got that off the internet or something like that. And we never mess with these ducks, and we've done it. You don't want to be 35 years old pushing a flat bottom in a mud flat, or 40, 50 years old pushing a flat bottom boat across a mud flat to kill 2 or 3 flyby mallards. So we year round, we can control the water level. We can control when the water gets added. We can control what goes in, and we plant corn, and then right before the corn gets too big to drive over, we broadcast millet in it, and millet's growing in the middles, and then when you add the water in September for till season, take the water off, all the millet seed comes down, and you get another sprout of millet most of the time, from 1st of September to the first frost in November sometime. And these ducks, they don't see anybody.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, it may be, we may hunt opening weekend, we may not, just depending on how many birds there are.
If they seen us doing what we do, they'd call us stupid.
Yeah. That's what I
Because
mean.
it's like Truett said, giving back. We're there when it's 110 or 10. You know what I mean? We're always trying to
I mean,
do
we
something.
pumped water this year, literally in single digit weather for 15 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like, just to have a place to hunt. And then the pipe in the levee froze and busted, let all the water out of the pond. So we pumped water literally 15 days in a row, and our generators were only running they were under such a strain, they'd only run for like 4 or 5 hours. So So you'd have to go in the middle of the night and fill up the generators. And we would go at 5 o'clock, you know, when it got dark and the ducks left, we'd fill it up. So you're back at 10, you're back at 3 o'clock in the morning, then you gotta go back at 5 and come off. Like it's all night long for weeks. And, you know, when you're putting in that kind of work, you know, the last thing you wanna do is, you know, pressure the birds. You know, control what you can control. Because at the end of the day, they're still wild animals.
Yeah.
And you know, we have a lot of fun, and we're really blessed. But now, we didn't just happen upon it. You know, I mean, we've done a lot of stupid stuff for a lot of years, and you know, it's really fun to see somebody as passionate as you guys about you know, the outdoors and really anything. I just, you know, as a father, I want my kid to be passionate about something. I don't care what he wants to do for a living, you know, and I don't try to, you know, tell my son or daughter what to do, you know, because I'm 38 years old now, and I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So as long as they're passionate about something, you know, I'm good about it. But again, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate y'all stopping by and, you know, coming back. I don't know what else you do other than talk about turkeys and outdoors.
That's
and
right.
Laugh a little bit on a day like today. But we've got a surprise for you. We kind of poked fun at Richard a little bit last night. But you know, what's the point of having a really good friend if you can't talk about him behind his back, you know? So
I appreciate that.
we filmed a little bit of a prequel, if you will, to this last night, right after y'all left, and we wanted to get Ben Perry on here and talk to him and his lead guitarist Brad, and I played high school football with Brad. None of those guys. Literally, Ben Perry, I've known him his whole life, and Brad Dell I've known since we were little kids, and we got some funny stories with those guys last night, and we really appreciate y'all stopping by today, taking time to come back and talk to us.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
I think both of you've got a pretty decent ride, and it'll be dark time you get home to your wife, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you got to get going. But that'll just about do it for another episode of Talking Quack and Smack with TC Duck Club. I'm Skylar Ray.
I'm Richard King.
True Marshall.
Craig McCain.
Y'all stay with us. We're gonna keep killing them.